Hey everybody, welcome. Got another little thing going on today. See this right here? That's an irrigation pump. See this right here? That's a very old irrigation pump. See this right here? This, I believe, is an old international, they called it a DT 414. Best as I could tell. Nameplates and stuff are gone, but looking up some of the numbers on the manifold, the intake manifold, matching what that goes to online, best we could tell, this is a DT 414. Now, here's what we got it for, all right? See old Rooster over there? Say hi, Rooster. So remember a while back we got the wheel line, right? The reason that we got those wheel lines is so that we could eventually develop some irrigation here on the ranch. Unfortunately, it's not as simple as you just set them up, we got all the water in the world and we go. There's a lot of little puzzle pieces that we have yet to put together. This being one of them. The other being that we have these old reservoirs that were built back in the 50s or 60s here on the ranch, and they need to be rehabbed, rebuilt, restored. Going to be quite a few man hours and money put into having to get those rehabbed and rehashed. That way we'll be able to store enough water during the spring runoff to ideally run this pump, which will push water to the wheel lines, which should guarantee us, you know, a standard hay crop most every year. A couple things that we're dealing with is the unknown of water, okay? So yes, we want irrigation. No, we don't want to spend, you know, tens of thousands of dollars to get set up. So enter the old DT 414, enter the $3,000 wheel lines that we got, and enter us at some point, probably getting some heavy equipment and restoring those reservoirs on our own, getting them back into shape. But here's the funny deal. This is what we're doing today, all right? This is the whole point of this video. So I found this on the internet. We came to terms on a deal, and he said he didn't want the money until we knew that it actually worked. He said, I've got so little into this thing, I would much prefer you guys take it home, fire it up, run it, make sure the engine's not just gonna come apart. And if it seems like it's solid and is gonna work and go, then we'll take payment. Well, that was a couple months ago that we brought this up. Summer's been busy. He's not in a big hurry about it, but he does need his trailer back that it was mounted to. So he's coming for the trailer here later on, and we decided we better get going. Now, the reason why he never was able to fire this thing up and really put the juice to it is because it has a pump mounted on the front, all right? This is a big Berkeley irrigation pump. Water comes in the inlet, goes through the pump, gets pressurized and blasted around, and comes blasting out of this thing, right? Or blasting out of that side, whichever direction you have it set for. The thing about a pump is you cannot run them at speed without water in it. It was a wintertime project for this guy. And once he got it running, he did not have any water to go ahead and test it and wrap it up to speed. So all he's ever done is more or less idle this thing a little bit. You think Roost is going to blow up when we get her going?
I'm going to be at least 50 yards back.
What about you, Weed Man? Who knows?
I don't know.
I have some injector cleaner that we're going to put in it. It does blow a little blue smoke, which a lot of those old international engines did until they got up and going. But it's full of fluids. I really don't know. I'm not doing this to be dramatic. I would say we got a good solid 50-50 chance that it's just going to be good as gold, or that it might develop a knock or something and not work. I really have no idea at this point. So what our plan is, we've got a little pond, if you remember from like my second ever YouTube video. We had some baby swans and stuff we were working with. Anyway, we pull a little water out of this pond. It's what we use to sprinkle the lawns and keep things nice. But I'm gonna run this hose so we can get a pretty good volume of water. It's gonna go up into here, and old Fredster is gonna hold this. Fred, this is gonna be your job. You're gonna be holding this old fire hose, shooting water straight into the hole. Can you deal with that?
I hope.
All right. Rooster's gonna be the guy with the 911 ready to go in case things just totally explode, and he's got to call in the ambulance. And I'm gonna kind of run in between the throttle and the injector cleaner and whatnot, and see what happens here. There's a company, Hot Shot Secret, that I love. Buy their stuff in the bulk, and their injector cleaner, it's called Diesel Extreme, works super well. That little baby, he put on a he went ahead and put on a little electric helper pump. So suck the diesel out. It's not one of those cords. Diesel goes up, filters to the pump, injectors, and goes. So I'm gonna go ahead and treat this right now with injector cleaner. So this, I I've started this thing just twice this summer, just for a minute to make sure it was still functioning as it sat here and kept its prime. Come over here and look, Fred. It's got, of course, an oil pressure shutoff and all that. It takes a second to build oil pressure. So the way you start this thing, oh yeah, she's good. So you got to hold this button in, and this basically overrides the oil pressure shutoff. Well, it first starts. I want to get it running, make sure it's square, and then we'll start the water and all that, and pour the heat to it. Okay, well, you heard it crack right off. That's always a good sign. Let's get the water pump going. Rooster's kind of the man with that. And then as soon as that pump's going, we're gonna have Freddie blast the water and see. Plan is once the pump's lubed up, we're gonna put this thing up to 1800 RPMs and let it run for 20, 30 minutes to where we feel like, okay, it's not overheating, it doesn't have issues and whatever. Reason I'm not too worried about this old dinosaur engine is that if you look online, there's still gazillions of parts, new parts even, you can still get for these. They were kind of a timeless engine from kind of the 70s, I guess, would be the era they were mostly used. Horsepower wise, way more pump than we need, but it's all that we could find on the internet for sale for a reasonable price. So funny thing about this pump is it's always out of gas. It never has gas in it. Every time you come down, you got to fill it up. Reason why we fuel this up and start it up, and then runs for a couple hours sprinkling lawns, and then once it's out of gas, it shuts everything off. And it's supposed to prime itself, but it never has, so we have to prime it every time we fire up the old sprinkler. I told Jackson when I primed it yesterday, I dipped a bucket of water on, was pouring it in, there was a perch. It was in the bucket. It's a little fish right there? Yeah. First time ever. Did you send it down the pump? No, I threw it back on it. When I start that, I choke it at the same time I pull the cord, and then I release it almost immediately, and it starts. So far so good, right? We got the water going in. Fred's hanging in there. We got the water coming out. It's basically at an idle right now, just a touch over an idle, and already it's starting to clean up a little. There's a little blue haze, but let's keep an eye on this injector cleaner. so far so good. You can see the water blasting. Water's getting plenty scarce around here again, so I don't want to waste any more of this water than we have to. It's technically not a waste. It's getting pumped up out of the pond, blowing along, running down this ridge. I'll show you where it's going. Comes down here. We built the berm here to block heavy rainwater and stuff from making a big mess in the craw. It's enough volume, we're getting a little going by, but most of it's coming back under the fence. Down here, back down into the pond, see? Making a circle. Pretty cool of a guy though to say, hey, take it home, run it. I don't want to say something that doesn't seem to work properly, so I mean, you run it for 10, 12 hours, it might blow up, but he said, take it home, push it hard, you know, do the deal, see what shakes. Okay, couldn't handle the wasted water anymore, so I turned the trailer so it's dumping on the grass now. I want to check now and see if it is cleared up. I'm trying to get the exhaust pipe kind of behind the background so we can see. All right, y'all, well, that was a quick hitting video. Bing, bang, boom, in and out and done. I'm gonna say the old DT414 passed the test. You know, running it for a full irrigation. A full irrigation would be this thing more or less running for about 3 days straight. Would be probably the amount of time we're gonna need to get done what we're trying to do, 3 or 4 days. But seemed to run well. It stayed cool. It ran, I don't even think it actually hit 180. I think the highest I saw was about 170 on there. Granted, it wasn't under a load. It is very hot out right now. It's about 90 degrees. It was not under a load, so it'll build a little more heat, but with that fan running full time, I'm confident we'll be good there. The exhaust cleared right up. That Hot Shot Secret Injector Cleaner has always worked great. I've used it for years now, and I'm a big proponent of that product. Man, what did I notice? I've noticed the fan belts. We're definitely going to replace the fan belts before next year, assuming we get this project down over the fall. New fan belts for the rig. There's a coolant hose that is seeping. It's just an old crusty line. So we'll probably put new coolant hoses on it before we run it next year. And then on the pump, there was a gasket on the pump that's going to need to be replaced or tightened, not sure which, probably replaced. On the pump housing itself, it was leaking quite a bit of water and we were not under pressure. So once that's pressured up, it'll be an old faithful situation. But the good news was the pump itself was shooting water even with low inlet pressure. It was blasting water through and out. So feeling confident. Hopefully that old Berkeley pump, it doesn't look like it's a dinosaur, but fresh paint, well, it's not fresh paint, but good paint will do that to a rig. So you guys, that's it. We're gonna get this thing offloaded so this guy can come get his trailer. I think we'll go ahead and make the purchase. That's gonna put us all in at about $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 all in for our irrigation equipment. That would be for 2 quarter-mile wheel lines, main line, and a pump. There's gonna be a few costs that we incur. We got to get a big diesel tank set up for this because the old 1 gallon guy is not gonna last in the and then we're going to have to get a little custom fabrication work to match the inlet outlet lines and stuff out in the field. But that's it. We've more or less got all of our irrigation equipment together. Next step is going to be rehabbing these reservoirs, and that is definitely an adventure that you're going to get to come along on because it's going to be quite a project. You guys, till next time, here's old Roost. Weed man weeds. Freddie definitely got the short end of the stick on this job because he ended up having to stand in a lake of water with his tennis shoes on and hold that hose on the inlet. So Freddie, you win the award of this video for the day. You guys, we'll see you.